Welcome to another edition of Patriots No Huddle. Steve Balsherry, Mike Diabate, Derek Havens, your host, as always, brought to you by PatsFans.com. I want to thank everyone who is subscribing, listening, and downloading our podcast. We appreciate it. And it's a fun day as we get to talk about the Washington Commanders and New England Patriots having a joint practice. And Mike, we were just talking, and I had to slow you down because you were gonna run with it.
A little bit
Uh, Mike, I
excited, just
was
a
I
little
was
bit.
just talking to you about how kind of your thoughts and everything from these teams getting together, and as all three of us know, we know that these practices are usually more. I don't know if practical is the right word, but they usually are more. I'll think of it in a second, but like they usually carry more weight than like preseason games, and they and you can and the coaches talk and they're able and the coaches from both sides are able to say what they want to practice on specifically or focus on. And you were just telling me about something interesting that happened today, and there was a little scuffle that happened.
Yeah, a little bit, definitely, Derek. Yeah, the skirmish, the kerfuffle, the melee, the brouhaha, whatever type of
Trust me, my
adjective.
cousins from Roxbury are down to get down. I mean, if we
Yeah,
need to, but
absolutely. Any type of adjective you want to throw in to describe what happened today on the field. Look, by now, Patriots fans that are listening to the podcast live, or you might be listening to us on replay, you pretty much know what happened. There were a couple of different circumstances where tempers flared, let's say. Tensions got high, and things are going to happen in these situations when you get two teams that are not quite familiar with each other. They're jockeying for position. Got a lot of guys out there that are playing for jobs, really trying to
they're
showcase their
they're playing
talent.
for jobs, Mike. They're
Yeah.
playing for jobs, and they also, are working out in the heat. And
Oh
if
yeah.
things, if
Absolutely.
when the temps get hot, and you start now, they're only doing 1 day of practice, but when the temps get hot and you start going against the same guys over and over, and you're jockeying for a job, it's gonna flare up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what happened today. Started off Kayshawn Booty and Commanders cornerback Marshawn Lattimore got into it a little bit. They were both going up, trying to make a play on a pass. Obviously, Booty trying to make the catch, Lattimore trying to break it up. They went back and forth a little bit. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel got right in there, right in the middle, broke it up, and all seemed to be okay for a little bit. Sides kept swarming, and you felt something was still in the air, but you thought maybe cooler heads would prevail. Well, moments later, tensions reached a fever pitch, Fats Nation. There's no question about it on that one. Travion Henderson took Von Miller to the ground in pass protection, and that apparently did not sit well with Von. They started scuffling on the ground. Will Campbell came in. He's going to protect his fellow rookie teammate in Travion Henderson. And once again, Mike Vrabel showing absolutely no fear. Got right in there to try to break things up. Ended up on the bottom of the pile and with a bloody cheek for his efforts. And obviously, that's gone viral throughout not just Patriots Nation, but all throughout social media. Those pictures are out there now. I want to give a little tip of the cap to my good friend Pete Collins of the Foxborough Fellows podcast. Who had a good shot that seemed to make the social media rounds on Wednesday. But that was the big takeaway. That's what the masses are going to gravitate towards. I'll quote Finch. That is what the cretins like to drink. But there were some very tangible moments from the field that I think were great takeaways on Wednesday, and I think it's going to not only give us insight into what we may see on Friday, but also what we may see moving forward from this Patriots team.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. I mean, those practices usually, guys, and we've all been to a joint practice, scrimmages or whatever you want to call it. It Usually it can get a little feisty, Steve. You and I have seen a good a few good scraps, but usually it doesn't happen on the first day. Not surprised in the least, Mike, that Mike Vrabel was in the mix. That is the least surprising news of anything that you just discussed. So that to me is nothing. Steve, man, was it Steve, was it the Saints from like 10 years ago when the Patriots and Saints, was it the Patriots and Saints that got into it? Or was the Eagles or Panthers? I'm trying to think of who it
I
was.
think it was the. I think of. I think it was the Jaguars.
It was the
Yeah.
Jaguars. Good call by you. Good call because that was a good one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, you
I
know how it
mean,
is. Bada
um,
beep,
mm,
bada boom. Right.
I
This
mean,
was strictly business, Mikey. It wasn't poison, right? You're gonna
Yeah,
get
he got a little hurt.
you're gonna
now
get blood all over your nice Ivy League suit.
now she can't leave. So it is what it is. I mean, it
Yeah, but
happens.
these things tend to happen, especially you have young guys that are trying to make the team, right? And they get a little extracurricular when they're on the practice field. And I can guarantee you, Von Miller did not like getting taken to the ground by a rookie running back
Oh
that
shit.
weighs 202 pounds. That is, as soon as I heard the circumstances, I knew Vaughn was coming up swinging there because,
Well, he
this
was
guy's going to be a Hall of Famer.
he's
And
he's a Hall of Fame Steve. He's a Hall of Fame caliber player that has made well over $100 million in his
yeah,
career, and then you also have a running back who is trying to kind of prove himself and who has been what's the word? I guess like kind of proven and
oh,
given
he's known for his fast.
everyone says that he's going to be a great run pass game player, and so he's trying to prove himself too, and that's what you got there, and it's kind of a David or Goliath situation a little bit.
Yeah, and that's okay, you know,
Mhm.
um, and because Von Miller didn't take kindly to that, and those are the type of things that happen. But by and large, the Patriots were more impressed with Mike Vrabel than they were with their teammates. Going a little above board there. Although Marshall Lattimore's been known to scrap it up. I mean, he's a guy that plays right to the limit. But with Vrabel going in there, Drake May said he loved the mentality that he was going to jump in there too. And Vrabel comes up with a cut sheet. I like the fact that Will Campbell, that's what we've known about him, that he was going to jump right in. So, but
Absolutely.
overall, we heard a lot of good stuff today.
Yeah. Mike, over to you. From aside from just a little fisticuffs, which hey, I'm down for. I mean, I'm from Boston, so I have my flare ups in traffic on I-95 as well. So I want to know where you want to go next with the conversation.
Well, Steve, you mentioned Will Campbell. I think it's a good opportunity to talk about him a little bit because,
Yeah, let's
with
do
the
it.
exception of getting involved with the extracurricular activities that went on the field, WWE style, I thought Will had a pretty solid performance in joint practices. Held up well during 11-on-11 drills. He anchored well. He had some ups and downs during his one-on-one battles. Again, he's a rookie. He's going to continue to either win or lose these, and there are going to be moments where he does look like a rookie. But the one thing that really kind of stood out to me is after practice, Dietrich Wise Jr., someone that obviously Steve knows is very near and dear to my heart. Dietrich was the first Patriots player that I interviewed when I first got to the Patriots beat. We were both rookies on the Patriots beat. I was coming over from covering the Chargers. Obviously, Dietrich was a Patriots draft pick coming out of Arkansas. So we both kind of had rookie moments with each other, and he was my first one-on-one. And it was really great to see Dietrich give a lot of credit to Will Campbell. He was matched up with Will a lot throughout the day on Wednesday, and he kept going over the fact that he said this kid's got great hands. He plays with great effort. He says, I've never heard of anybody being criticized for arm length or anything like that. If they can make the plays, and this kid can do what he needs to do to hold up in pass protection and in run blocking. So that's coming from a guy who was a captain up here for a number of years. I doubt he'd throw that out to Patriots Nation as a red herring. Dietrich is one of the more I would say, one of the more honorable players that I've ever had a chance to get to know throughout the years, and I have nothing but honor and respect for him. If he's saying it, that's something that I think Patriots fans should take solace in. So overall, a good day for Will Campbell. Again, it's not perfect. It's not going to take his detractors away, but the more he continues to perform on a big stage, where he had, I think, a pretty good in-stadium scrimmage on Friday. I thought he had a good day today. If he can translate this into a few very good days coming down the stretch, I think Patriots fans can breathe more of a sigh of relief that they got their guy that can be a left tackle here for a number of years.
Oh, well, I've been, I'm everyone who's listened to the show for a while knows that I'm a huge Will Campbell guy. But Mike, to your point, before you give your take on this, Dietrich Wise is a very long-limbed, defensive end. So anyone who has those long arms, he's going to give people with short arms problems. And if Wise is going to go ahead and give his praise, I think that's a good sign. With offensive tackles and defensive ends, you're going to have those leverage battles, and if he can go ahead and do that, I think that's a huge positive for Will Campbell.
Absolutely, and they went against each other 3 times in one-on-ones, and the way they wrote it up, it was 1 win for each and a draw, which honestly, if I'm looking at on the score sheet at the end of a football game, if Wise isn't beating him, that's a win for Campbell, because all you're trying to do is keep him away long enough for your quarterback to
get the ball out.
To get the ball out. So if it's a draw and he's not getting by you, then that's a win. But I mean, you can call it whatever you want. I don't know how they rate these things a draw, but the big thing was 11 on 11, right? That's
absolutely
that's what the games ultimately come down to. When you have your best 11, they have their best. He held up really well today, and that's the kind of thing you want to see. And again, Dietrich Wise, spent a lot of years here. Always called it really straight, and he had a lot of good things to say about it. He enjoyed the battle with him, and he said, he did say his hands are, excellent or outstanding or whatever. But that's a positive, and from everything we've heard about, the offense looked really good today. Drake May was dealing, and they were clicking until that last. I think they finished the practice at the opponent's 25, and they had 4 downs to get it in. And he had one tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it got picked off.
Todd, no, we are not panicked at all.
Not at all.
I'm not worried in the slightest.
Well, at least not on this show. Now, I'm not going to speak for everybody else.
Can't speak for other people in the room, but just that.
Yeah, we're not panicked. Don't worry about it. I'm more panicked about the chest cold or the head cold that I have than anything that happened.
Yeah, Derek's battling a head cold. I'm battling sinusitis. It is not pretty, folks, here on Patriots No Huddle, but we are here giving you everything we possibly can. So,
and this episode is sponsored by Dayquil. Brought to you by some 5 or 10 milligram gummies of melatonin this evening.
Yeah.
um, Mike, what I'm curious about, with these practices, the competition aside, we'll get into the Patriots specific depth chart or roster chart later, but specifically, with these joint practices, it's always interesting because it's hard. Jobs are up for grabs, which makes sense. I mean, like on the surface, just to say this, on the surface, you have like a lot of testosterone on the field, and you have temps are high right now, and you have what, probably 180 people, not to mention coaches, trainers, assistants on the field as well. So you just have a lot of guys around, and like guys are trying to make plays and prove to themselves and to their teammates that they want to do certain things. And so, that's where these interesting situations pop up. Travion Henderson to me, Mike, uh, is fascinating because I just love that he's starting to get more and more traction. You're hearing from people, whether it's Boston media, whether it's whether it's the radio, whether it's journalists, whether or beat writers, they're starting to be like, this guy is popping.
Mm.
And now you're getting a situation where, yeah, okay, I guess his biggest highlight was, a fist fight or a little rumble, but he also had two of the biggest plays downfield than anybody else from a Patriot standpoint. And it's like, man, this guy's starting to work himself into this offense. And I think he's going to go ahead and carve a name out for himself. I'm really excited about his ability and what he can do for this team moving forward. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with you. He's putting in the work, and you can see it. Each and every day he takes the field, there's a little bit more comfort, there's a little bit more knowledge in the playbook, and I think there's more confidence each and every time his number gets called and he has an opportunity to make something happen. This kid is a natural when it comes to catching the ball out of the backfield. We're seeing it. He can definitely be a threat in that regard. He's also showing the fact that he can be an early down back if the Patriots need him to do that. If they need him to step up and be that guy, he can be that guy.
Mike,
And
did
in
you see
terms
the
of,
pass? Did you see the pass that he caught? I don't know if you saw it
yeah,
in the video. I forget who posted it, and I apologize
mhm,
for not giving them credit. But did you see the pass of him catching it over the shoulder, like
right,
down the field, like on like a wheel route?
yep,
Like that is quite literally when I was talking to Steve about this, like a month, like a month or two before the draft. That is literally what I envisioned him
mhm.
contributing to the offense.
Yeah, pro level mechanics right out of the gate. And that I think is a testament to Josh McDaniels to see that type of prowess in this kid, to trust him in those situations. But give all the credit in the world to Travion. I mean, he's coming in with the confidence to make those plays, and he's coming in with the skill set. When those two meet, it really does make for a hell of a football player. And that's what you're seeing in Travion Henderson. And not to mention, this kid is as good of a blocker as I've ever seen at the position. So,
Mhm.
you really have a gem here in Travion Henderson. And I think that's something that the Patriots are going to utilize not just this season, but for a number of years. This kid's got wisdom beyond those years, I like to say. And he's showing it each and every day he takes the field. I thought he had a good day today. And the more he gets comfortable and the more he gets assimilated into being a dual, triple threat, maybe even in this offense, the more you're going to see a lot of these players respond to him and come alive. Him being as pro ready as he seems to be right now is truly a huge, huge plus for the Pats.
Yeah, Steve, I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna light off like 40 Roman candles and shoot him into the sky on like week one when he has a 40-yard screen pass to the side. I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. But Steve, like, just to comment on what we were talking about, with the pass block. I mean, for one, we know that Bill Belichick is not the head coach anymore, but he is still he still has his fingerprints on the team a little bit, and Josh McDaniels is still running the same offense that he always has. And so if he's going to go ahead and have a running back, which we know if you're going to be on the field as a running back, Steve, as a rookie, what do you got to do?
You
Pass
have to
protect.
pass block. Yep.
Yep. So
And
we have that, and
that's
then
why, guys like, Shane Vereen, um,
mhm, Danny.
James White, they kind of had that rookie redshirt year, kind of,
Yep.
because they were still learning. Josh McDaniels knew they could run the ball. He also knew they could catch the ball, but they wouldn't get that level of trust until they proved they can pass block. And then Mike and I were at the joint, not the joint practice, but the in stadium practice the night they retired Kevin Falk. And I remember I got to talk with Kevin Falk on the way out to the practice, and I asked him about Dante, and he said, "Hey, when I was at LSU, I mean," he goes, "I was the guy. I was getting the ball on
Mhm,
every down. If I wasn't running it, I was
mhm.
catching it. I never pass blocked." And he said, and Dante told him in no uncertain terms, "Don't waste my time. If you want me to teach you," which sounds like Dante Scarnecchia, right? "If you want me to teach you, I'll teach you." But
Well, as Todd types in, Bill is always here.
yep,
Just to your point, Steve's. Dante's always here as well. I mean, those
yeah.
principles
So
are
that was one.
embedded.
Yeah, that was one thing the Patriots have traditionally, you know, and absolutely there was no leeway in that for their running backs. They have to be able to pass block. So with this kid coming in, and he was considered the best pass blocking running back in the draft.
Mhm.
So I mean, he's so far ahead of the game, and we know he's electric with the ball in his hands. He showed that at Ohio State at the highest level,
I
and
mean, and Steve, I haven't seen him in person, but some of the videos of him jump cutting,
mhm,
Mm.
yeah,
just you don't with his hands and his pass blocking ability, being able to fit into Josh McDaniels' offense and his jump cut ability. You don't think he's going to be an absolute weapon and a menace to defenses? I think
oh
he's going
yeah,
to be. I think he's going to have a monster year. I think Pop Douglas and him. I know Stephon Diggs is going to do Stephon Diggs things, but I think that Pop Douglas and Travion Henderson are going to have just ridiculous years in this offense, and I think, Mike. I think that you're going to see um, Josh use Drake's athletic ability and Travion's, I guess, agility and down the field threat as a way to go ahead and put stress on the front seven and opposing defensive coordinators. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with from a creative standpoint, because they haven't had a lot of opportunities
Mm.
to stress other defensive coordinators about, or other defenses. And
Mm.
I think this is now an interesting point where, as Drake goes into his second year and Josh protects Drake, how they're able to go ahead and put some stress on guys on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what else does it do? It also opens up things on the perimeter. It also opens up the middle part of the field for the Patriots to be able to attack it through the passing game. And again, in a limited sample size, I think you've been seeing some of that the last couple of days, definitely in the joint practices, where Drake May is hitting guys like Efton Chisholm and Mac Hollins for 5 passes and getting 5 catches out of them. The other thing that you're seeing right now as well is you're seeing Drake feel a little bit more comfortable with guys like Demario Douglas and seeing him, emerge and really become the factor that we all believed he would be last year,
Mhm.
coming to fruition and seeing that come down. And the emergence of Kayshon Boutte in this offense, to me, has been one of the feel-good stories of camp so far. Here's a guy that came in. A lot of people were not giving him much of a chance to make the roster. They thought he'd be a casualty, maybe someone that performed well, but ultimately couldn't earn a spot over the guys that were in front of him. I don't know how you make out a 53-man roster without Kayshon Boutte as a prominent member of this pass catching core. So Drake May is getting more comfortable. He's getting more assimilated into this offense, and you're seeing it in the way he's utilizing every weapon that he has available. To me, it does. It harkens back to those old days of Josh McDaniels and spreading the ball around and getting the ball to the open man or the guy that can make the play best according to what defense the opponents are showing him. And it goes back to your point on Travion. Having someone that versatile, having someone that talented, it is such a weapon. It does so much to open up this offense. So for the first time in a long while, and Steve, I think you can agree with this as well, the Patriots are going to keep teams guessing as to what they can do because they have multiple ways that they can make things happen. This has been a one-dimensional team for the last couple of years. You pretty much knew that if you shut down a certain player or a certain pass catcher, Patriots weren't going to get much going. They're going to have a lot more options this year. We haven't even mentioned the tight ends or Hunter Henry yet, who's still
No,
having,
we'll
I
get
think, a
to
very
that.
quiet,
Shout out to
very
Claire Cooper.
a very quietly good camp. And I think he's showing an ability to be a security blanket for Drake as well. And you always want to have one of those just in case something goes wrong. So good stuff for the offense the last few days. They're building something. Be patient with it, folks, because once it reaches its final product, it'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Mike,
Well,
there's a lot to
can I,
unpack there. Steve, go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick.
Please. No, please.
Um, I thought that, you know, the offense looked really good today against a playoff team from last year, right? Think back to the first joint practice last year against the Eagles and what an abject terror that joint practice was. Now, granted, the Eagles ended up winning the Super Bowl last year, but I mean, think about how they looked in that joint practice compared to how they look today. I think things are really looking up.
Mhm.
And, I think across the board, you're seeing improvements all the way around. And, even on defense, I know they scored, uh, the Commanders scored a touchdown on the last play. It's like, I think they said it was 7 seconds left from the 3 yard line. But your top two corners are out.
Mhm.
They're not at practice so far this week. So I'm really bullish on this whole team right now, and as we should be. I mean, they haven't won anything yet, but I think you can see the pieces starting to come together. And
Mhm.
you know, uh, again, one guy who's been on PUP, right? Um, on the last segment where they get the ball on the 25, each team got to put their first unit and second unit out. And Josh Dobbs on the first play from the 25, it's my man, Mac Hollins, on a dime for a 25-yard touchdown.
Mhm.
And, I've been high on the Mac Hollins signing, and I think you're going to start seeing it pay dividends. He's
Yeah,
just getting his feet under him. But that today was a really good sign.
yeah, absolutely.
I do
Sorry.
think I no I think it's just interesting and there's a good conversation to be had about that. Mike, let me ask you this: what are you looking forward to most for I guess this Friday from a offensive and defensive perspective of a preseason game? Um, we know that traditionally these coaches usually talk about things in advance, so they kind of know what they're going to be trying to do. It's not really it's not a ton of guesswork. But you are looking. I have my answer, and I talked to Steve because him. He's my second wife, as my wife would say, because I talk to him more than anybody. But
Be
but
careful now.
but I would say, you have to be careful how you evaluate these preseason games
Right.
because you don't want to just take it off face value. It's not they're not drawn up like crazy schemes or doing anything crazy. They're not usually hitting extremely hard, but maybe they're trying to let's just say hypothetically, let's just say the Commanders coach Dan Quinn says to Mike Vrabel, "Hey, I really want to focus on the run game tonight. We're gonna work on the run, and so I really want to focus on my guys getting some tackling in, and some blocking, and then so that Mike Vrabel's telling Tyrell Williams, well, we're gonna have to fight through these blocking techniques, and we're gonna have to go ahead and tackle whoever's running back there, and like that would be a thing." Or it's a scrambling drill or whatever. Like, what do you think is going to be what you're like looking forward to in week one of this preseason?
Well, obviously, I think like any Patriots fan, you want to see what the offensive line is going to look like. And that doesn't mean that the starters are going to be out there, folks. But one thing that the Patriots have consistently struggled with throughout training camp so far has been essentially containing some of the runs when they come to the outside. Who's going to be able to step up in pass protection and in run blocking and be able to stop some of the Washington defenders that are going to try to either pin their ears back and get after the quarterback or try to be in and around every single play. A guy that I was really looking forward to seeing today, or that I was really looking forward to hearing about or finding out how he did against this Patriots team, especially in a joint practice setting, was rookie linebacker Kane Medrano. Now, Kane was someone who came out of UCLA. He was a player that I admired. I actually tried mocking him to the Patriots a couple of times because I
Gorgeous
loved his
campus, by the way.
nonstop. Yeah, and I loved his nonstop motor. I just love the way that this kid plays, and him ending up in Washington, I think was a very good fit. And a good friend of mine who's covered the Washington Commanders for a number of years fed me some information today, and I was glad to see that he was in position to make tackles throughout much of the day. It looked very impressive in pass coverage. So with the Patriots having some uncertainty at the tackle position, how do they stop those struggles? How do they go up and how do they contain someone like a Medrano who can give them fits, gave them fits today? I'm looking forward to seeing if Mike Vrabel looked at what he saw on the field today, make some adjustments, and we see some things that maybe we haven't seen yet, or give Washington some wrinkles that maybe they weren't anticipating. Give this chess match a chance to work because they have the brain trust in that coach's room right now to figure things out and to be able to put it back in the opponent's face. I got a lot of confidence in their ability to do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that from an offensive perspective, how this offensive line rebounds to an aggressive defensive front. Naturally, I mean, we're looking forward to seeing who's going to be able to put points on the board. You want to see guys like Kyle Williams and Travion Henderson and Efton Chisholm get their looks and see who looks like a potential fit in this
We're going to get to
Patriots
them before the
offense.
show's over. Don't you worry about it.
But I think really, if you're a Pats fan that is concerned about how this team's going to look right out of the gate, you want to see what that rotation is going to look like from an offensive line perspective, especially at the tackle positions.
I don't know what those, Mike. I don't know what those little carpets or blankets are called that like movers use when they move like furniture, going from one place to another. But all I know is that I hope that Drake May has about 3 throws and they bubble wrap him and then wrap him in that carpet as fast as humanly possible until the next week. And Steve and I were joking about that earlier offline. But Steve, I am interested in seeing what the team is going to do in this week one, and that they do go ahead and kind of structure whether it's philosophy, schemes, whether it's play style, whatever it is. And so we'll see what they come out of it with. But I'm really interested to see some of these young guys, Steve. Any guys that you're kind of curious about looking at going into this Friday night's game?
Well, Friday night, I mean, obviously you want to see the rookies, right? You want to see Kyle Williams, you want to see Travion Henderson, you want to see Will Campbell out there, see what they can do. I also want to see some of the later round guys, Braden Swinson, you know,
He's being kind of slept. I'm still really excited about his potential.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to see these guys get their feet wet in the NFL game, going against a good football team. Granted, they won't be going against their starters, but it's still a good team. Now, there's no game planning or whatever involved in this. Both teams kind of run a pretty vanilla scheme. They don't want to give too much away. But at the same time, situational football starts getting built right now. Okay. So regardless if it's your first team, second team, third team, whatever, if they're learning what the coaches are teaching, then when it comes to situational football, how do you handle those type situations? And that's a big one that carries over into the season. Now, defensively, I mean, I don't know how aggressive they're going to be. We pretty much know they're going to get after it in the regular season, but will they hold back the horses a little bit on Friday night, or do they just pin their ears back and play like they're going to play in the regular season? But again, I mean, and as you and I were talking about earlier this week, I mean, I can't wait to see Drake May out there, but at the same time, if they don't decide to play him, I won't be exactly heartbroken, but I do want to see him play, maybe just one series, just to see how everything's progressing with him. But Travion Henderson tonight or Friday night, I mean, I'm looking for that big wheel route. I mean,
I can see it. I can see it happening.
I want to see Len Larson too. I mean, there's been some hype about him in the running game and in the passing game. He plays special teams. I want to see what he looks like in a game type situation.
Mike, I want to circle. We've had a lot of conversations about receivers the last couple weeks, and I will bring something up here shortly. But Steve just mentioned a couple names. Travion Henderson. Something I can't say to my wife all the time. I know I'm right. I know he's going to be a good player. Okay. I know he's going to fit right into this offense, and I'm excited for the wheel routes and the screens and some of that stuff. So that'll be interesting. And I think something, Mike, that is interesting is that, Josh McDaniels, even with Brady in 2019, and I want to get your opinion on this, and you tell me if you disagree. I never shy from a debate, or Mike debate. Okay,
Touche.
Even in 2019, the Tom Brady offense got boring at the end, and they really struggled, turned the ball over a lot, whatever. As I think Brady said on I think it was Sunday Night Football, he said, I'm the most miserable 8-0 or 9-0 quarterback of all time, whatever that was. The offense just was stagnant, kind of stale towards the back end of the year. And then Josh got creative, with Cam Newton. But then it was kind of vanilla with Mac Jones. Even when Mac Jones was doing super great, they were so scared to even have him throw into the end zone. And Drake was interesting, in his rookie year, but the rest of the process was so kind of disorganized, I guess is the word that I would use. And this year, I feel like they could put a lot of things together and really start to stress defenses. And I'm kind of curious to see how that looks, because I feel like they could really go ahead and press those things. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I think that between Josh's ability to scheme things, Drake going into the second year, um, the offensive line being improved, the weapons involved. I think they have the things like the system in place to really go ahead and elevate everything to a second level.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money. I think in terms of how much you're going to see of that, I don't necessarily know if you're going to see a lot of that on Friday. I think you'll probably see more of it
Oh yeah,
in the second preseason game than you will in this one. But I do believe you're onto something there. I think that's exactly what this Patriots team is going to try to do. They're going to try to utilize every area on the field, and again, they have the personnel now to do it. Someone like a Stephon Diggs opens up so many doors because of his experience and because of his ability to play all over the field. When you look at now the young guys that they have coming in, we've mentioned them. Yeah, that's right, Todd. All right on the money, right there, man. Let's it all adds up to a championship. Let's get those duck boats ready.
that's
No, all kidding aside, I mean it's okay for people, like for Todd, it's okay to be excited about this team, because I think you're going to see a lot that's going to bring you out of your seat, maybe for the first time in a long while, as a Patriots fan. So yeah, be excited. I like that energy and keep it up. But at the same time, getting back to your point, Eric, I think looking at guys now, the younger guys like a Kyle Williams or like a Trevion Henderson, are going to add so much to this offense. Steve, we saw today just a very small taste of what Mac Hollins can bring to this offense and his experience and his big play ability. So all of those can add up to a number of different ways in which this Patriots team can beat you. And again, it kind of brings you away from a stagnant, maybe boring type offense like you've described, and really take it to another level. And let's not forget, we're hearing a lot, and we haven't seen much of it yet, but we're hearing a lot about Josh having extra tricks up his sleeve this year. Really looking forward to seeing what some of those wrinkles are and how his offense has evolved. Up to this point, it's looked very much like the offense we know and love from Josh McDaniels. But if there are elements of it that he's saving for the season, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got up his sleeve.
Derek
yeah.
got in trouble with that one training camp.
What's up?
I said you got in trouble with that one training camp.
Oh yeah, I did. I did.
The famous double pass.
For they used during the 2014 Baltimore Ravens AFC divisional round game. I tweeted they did that, and that was still and this is a story I've told way before, but they did that in front of us, and I tweeted out, and Ben Volen and I got into it because he was pissed that he couldn't tweet it out, but I could, even though we were sitting like 15 feet from each other. And I wasn't media credentialed. I was just there. And then they used it. It's still my favorite as a fan, and as someone who's covered the team. It's definitely my favorite moment. I would say that is up there, top chart, Steve. but yeah, I thought Ben was gonna punch me in the face and punch Stacey James at the same time. But it is what it is. Stacey, love you, mean it, but you're easy to punch in the face. So I get it. I'm trying to think, Mike. Kind of going through everything else, we'll probably see a lot of Joshua Dobbs. We'll probably see a lot of Ben Wooldridge. Some of the younger receivers. We know that you kind of get a good idea of some of the offensive linemen and defensive linemen reps, because they actually are able to have contact and have that, but there's not a whole lot going on aside from that. I'm kind of wondering if Alex Austin can kind of build on his practices that I feel like he's done a good job on. And I'm kind of curious if some of these defensive backs, receivers, if they can build on anything, because it is going to be a very limited spot. It's kind of like musical chairs there, and you know. We always were talking about Stevenson and Henderson and Gibson. There's usually a fourth running back, and maybe it's Terrell Jennings, but maybe somebody else pops up. And I'm just wondering what you're thinking about some of these extra spots, or what you're going to be specifically focusing on as we approach the first preseason game on Friday.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said Alex Austin. I really can't wait to watch this kid. And again, I don't know how much you're going to see of Alex. I think he's done enough to play his way onto this roster without
Oh,
question. I'd say
I
he's your
totally
third.
agree.
I'd say he's your third best corner on this team right now, and maybe even make an argument that he may be your second best, because we haven't seen a whole lot of Carlton Davis. He's been on the sidelines for much of this training camp cycle. And look, Alex is definitely proving he is next man up, and he is best man up when it comes to what the Patriots need from this secondary. Broke up 2 red zone passes from Jaden Daniels on Wednesday, including batting one down at 4th and goal at the conclusion of practice. And you know that's one that Jaden wanted to have, and Alex denied him of that. And you got to love it. This kid is not afraid to get in there and try to make the big play. He plays with ice water in his veins, and I mean that as a compliment, but he also plays the game very smart, and he has a nose for the football and really finds his way into any situation to make a play. Love Alex Austin. Love what he's bringing to this team. DJ James is another one that I can't sing enough of the praises on. He has taken his opportunity, flown with it. Yeah, he really has. And this kid, I think, is another one that could end up seeing a lot of time at perimeter corner. He was a slot weapon to begin with. We talked about it the last time we met here on Patriots No Huddle, but this kid can play on the outside. So that defensive backfield, especially without the services of Marcellus Dial, needs players to step up. I think those guys right now are in the driver's seat to make the roster. Does Isaiah Bolden kind of pop a little bit now? Does he get more of a shot without Marcellus in the lineup? Is it someone like a Kobe Minor that could come in and be more than just Mr. Irrelevant this year? I really am looking forward to this cornerback group and watching what they can do, not just because I played the position when I was much younger and much, much thinner, but at the same time, it's an intriguing battle to watch. And the running backs, I think, is something to watch as well. Jermichael Hasty is back in the fold now. He was just re-signed by the Patriots less than 48 hours ago. So how do all these guys blend in? Where do they fit? Are they camp bodies, or are they really looking for these guys to make a push and make this 53-man roster? A lot of interesting decisions for the Patriots in the coming weeks.
I think Hasty is he was a sneaky signing, because McDaniels traditionally keeps a fullback on the roster and usually 4 running backs on the roster. They're only going to keep 2 quarterbacks on the roster, and they're probably keeping 6 receivers. And I was talking to Steve about this earlier, and they're going to keep 8 or 9, probably 9 offensive linemen. So like you start to have to do the math and kind of go through it and figure out, it's either going to be 24 or 25 guys on offense that are going to stick on this team. So that's going to be fascinating. And I think Hasty makes a lot of sense from a special team standpoint and from a backup running back standpoint. It's going to be him or Terrell Jennings. I think that they're going to be kind of battling it out, so that'll be interesting. Steve, any thoughts on what Mike just said?
Well, again, I mean, to your point, I think Larson's going to make the team, but that's we can talk about that.
It's gonna come up to the preseason, though.
Yeah, I think it's all going to come down to that. The fact that they brought Hasty back, though, they know he knows the system, so it's not like he has to relearn everything. He's stepping right back in. Anyway, a lot of stuff that's going to happen on Friday night. I'm really looking forward to, and again, I mean, everybody's going to get some play in there. Some guys will be playing obviously more than others because a lot of the starters might just be in for a cameo. But the offensive line, I'm really looking forward to seeing how all of that starts to come together. And then, when you're talking about guys in the secondary, he's absolutely right. Alex Austin, he might only see a series or two, and let the other
Steve.
guys. Because,
Steve. If we're talking about quarterbacks, yeah, they're not cutting Davis this year. Okay, so they just signed him. Okay, and we know Christian
they
Gonzalez
paid him,
is going anywhere.
They paid him an ungodly amount of money, so he's not going anywhere. Okay,
yeah, and
so
Marcus Jones is healthy, and I think you got Alex Austin, and now you're just talking about who's the fifth guy.
Well, I think Isaiah Bolden now might re-enter the conversation with Dial on IR. And look, DJ James.
Sorry about your loss as a Gamecock fan.
Hey, it happens. I mean, unfortunate. You hate to see a young guy get hurt in training camp and miss the whole season, but that's football.
What it is.
And
but it does feel like Alex Austin is building steam, and I would say to this, Steve, Gonzalez can pretty much play anywhere. Davis is basically mostly a perimeter corner.
Mm-hmm.
Jones, we know, moves all over and does a lot of special teams. Alex Austin has done really well in the perimeter. They might need to make sure that fifth cornerback spot has the ability to be a slot cornerback.
Well, and it could be the fourth.
And Mike, I'm going to go to you about this after that.
Yeah, it could be our fourth round draft pick because he's played all over the field.
Yep.
And he's done all these different things. He can play the free safety role. He can play the nickel, linebacker role, whatever you want to call it, the money guy, I guess.
The star, the money position star, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Big nickel, it's going to be fascinating how they try to use these guys in the preseason to get everyone a legitimate look against another team.
I think that he could be one of the most interesting people. I think this draft. This is a hot take here for you at the tail end of the show. I think this draft has the potential to be just absolutely just total nails draft, because you could look at almost every level. Like if Kyle Williams can stay healthy, he's going to be an explosive player. I think I have been on it about Henderson and what he could bring to the table. I think Campbell's going to be a great tackle. You're talking about Woodson. I like Steve, to your point, he could play safety, he could play big nickel, he could play corner, like he can move all around. He has a different skill set than a lot of the other guys do, and I think this draft class could be extremely different and bring a lot of value to this team. So I'm very bullish on this class. I just think it's going to happen. So yeah, I'm buying high. I'm buying high on this draft class. Mike, what are your thoughts on what we talked about?
Yeah, without question. I'm also looking forward to watching Craig Woodson. I think this kid has the ability to play all over the field, like you said, Steve. And those guys are the guys that stand out in moments like this. Obviously, he's a rookie. This is his stage to perform. And anyone who hasn't been attending regularly at Gillette Stadium and hasn't had the chance to see what this kid can do on the field, this is his chance to show that he's a big-time member of this draft class, and he's a big-time contributor. And I believe he will be. in that safeties group. The Patriots, I think, got themselves a good one, and a good one for the type of defense that they
Mhm.
want to play. Is a hand and glove fit for that aggressive, pin your ears back and put pressure on the opposition. He's the guy that can do it. So how well does he assimilate in with the safeties group is going to be something to watch. He is absolutely one I'll be watching very closely on Friday night. And, again, I think just some of the new arrivals, if they get an opportunity to get out there and to showcase what they can do, it's a good opportunity for you to get to know the new Patriots. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the new additions can do in this system.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I want to thank everyone who's listening to this episode of Patriots No Huddle. Please do like us and share us and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as subscribe to us on PatsFans.com YouTube channel. Guys, as I always do, I always throw a curveball. It's always fun to do. So I'm here. Let me let it rip. Mike, I'm going to you first. So Steve, you'll catch a break on this first one. Okay. Apparently my dog's gonna have zoomies, so I apologize for the noise in the background. Um, Mike, on Friday, we're recording this August 6th on Wednesday. What is the thing you're looking forward to most? Because for me, I'm just looking for again some of these rookies. Maybe guys like Alex Austin, but even guys like Joshua Farmer or some of these offensive defensive line matchups. Is there anything or Braden Swinson is there anyone that you're particularly looking forward to watching as we come up here in 48 hours?
Yeah, you mentioned him, Braden Swinson. I think this is a pick that when it was made, I think everybody opened up their eyes and said, wow, this might be the steal of the draft. And we heard that coming out of all of the information that we were getting at the time regarding Braden, and also all of the scouting reports that were coming out from him at the time, that he could be such a hand in glove fit in this Patriots defense. How much time does he get? How much do we see him on the field? And when he is on the field, how is he assimilating into this type of defense? I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do because it will be most likely the second stringers of Washington that will be playing the majority of this game, and then into the third and fourth stringers as well. But like Steve said to open the show, this is still a very talented team. They went to the NFC Championship last year. There's no weak spot in the first, second, third team. There's still very competent, very capable football players that they'll be going against. So it's a good test, especially for a rookie like Braden. What can he do? Farmer's another one. I think that's going to be interesting as well. How
Yeah.
can he move his way into this front seven? Because I will say this, and especially on Wednesday, we saw a small glimpse of what the tandem of Christian Barmore and Milton Williams can do to opposing offenses. Yeah, Christian Barmore looks scary good in his one-on-ones on Wednesday. This guy looks healthy. He is back. That is bad news for the other teams. Excellent news if you're a New England Patriots fan. The middle of that defensive line is going to be a problem for opposing offenses this year. I want to give a slight tip of the cap to Karius Tonger as well, because I think he's also fitting very well in there. It's going to be who's able to emerge as the swing options right now, the reserve options that are going to get a chance to build this defense for many years to come.
Well, all I know, Mike, is that I'm gonna need an ice pack because if it's up for more than 4 hours, you're supposed to consult a doctor. And between the news we've heard and read from Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, we're gonna be concerned. So I'm definitely gonna get the ice pack ready to go. Mike, take
This
us
is a
out.
family show now. Come on.
Hey, I didn't do anything. I didn't have to do anything to put any kind of money in the Miguel fund. I was good. Steve, give me your final thought, and then Mike, take us out. Okay.
Yeah. Look, one of the guys I'm really looking forward to seeing is not a rookie at all, but they can't rest everybody, right? Because somebody has to play the game, and that's Caleb on Chason. And we should see him
I think he's being
at
slept
least,
on, Steve. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think he's being slept on a little bit.
well, he's had a really good summer,
Hmm.
and he's been very disruptive. I think we'll see a lot of him at least in the first half
Mhm.
because guys like Landry and Keon White might not play much, but again, I mean they can't rest everybody, so some of the guys are going to have to play. And even though he's an established vet, I mean he's had a really good summer, and I would like to see him continue that on during the first preseason game. They get a little disruptive in there, maybe generate a turnover or three, and see what happens.
And Kyle Williams will be. I'm looking forward to seeing him too because I'm sure he'll
Uh-huh.
get some run. And Lane Larison, I think that'll be interesting. So there'll be guys fighting for spots. So we'll be able to see what they do. But Mike, take us out or give any final other thoughts that you want to give.
Absolutely. Steve, I share your curiosity on Caleb Chiasson. Something to keep in mind, we have not seen him on the practice field since Monday. He sat out Monday's practice, did not practice on Tuesday, and was not present on the field, or at least did not participate in the action we saw on the field on Wednesday. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe he's getting a little veterans rest or if they're going to bring him back on Friday. So something to keep under your hat, folks, as we head toward Friday. But if you are heading to Gillette Stadium on Friday evening, enjoy. It'll be a one-of-a-kind situation with the unveiling of the statue of the one and only legend himself, Tom Brady. Well deserved, and I, for one, can't wait to see it. I know I join my colleagues, Steve and Derek, when we say that Tom is involved. He's ingrained in the very pulse
I'm
of
scared to
Patriots
death.
Nation. He
Mike, I'm
truly
scared
is.
to death of it. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to bring that up before we ended the show. And I'm scared to death of seeing what the statue looks
I
like.
really, I mean, some of the crap that's been posted on social media, I don't buy any of that. The Crafts have been involved with this from the beginning, and if they were to go through this whole process and allow an awful statue to be built of Tom, I think that's beyond the pale.
Cristiano Ronaldo statue, Dwayne Wade statue scares the crap out of me. I was like, I was just texting my cousins this the other day, and this is a family show, so I'm gonna keep it as clean as possible for my humor. Okay, but I was literally just texting my cousins the other day that we have enough technology in our phones to send people to the moon, like 40 years ago. Cristiano Ronaldo's statue looks like it was put in the microwave for about 30 seconds before it was put up.
Well,
We
let's
have
just
we
hope
have we have we have we have
the
we have
artist,
we have
the
we have
artist that carved
we have
that.
AI dolls that can be used for certain acts, as I'll say. So I make sure we keep it clean.
Well,
and now we're putting a 12-foot up statue of Tom Brady, and I'm like, I am so scared because we used to be able to build pyramids, Steve, and now I have to worry about just a bronze statue being carved because I
as
just
long
don't
as
have any. I have no confidence in that.
as long as it wasn't done by the courtroom reporter in Tom Brady's trial against the NFL. That's
Bingo.
all we have to worry about. If that person wasn't in charge of the statue, I think we're fine.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. But yeah, no, it's scary. I would hate for him to not be honored the way he's supposed to be honored, Mike, to your point. Okay, so I do think that's important, but go ahead and finish out the outro. I
No, and in
apologize,
that
but
vein,
that is something that it's been on my mind that I wanted to bring up, but it is scary.
no, it's a valid point, but in that vein, folks, I think what we want to do is focus on positivity. And like Steve said, believe that with all the time that the Crafts have had to craft this statue, no pun intended there, and to make sure that it honors the man that it's going to honor, that I think they'll be able to get this right in his honor. So hopefully that will be the case. If you are headed up to Gillette, it will be a monumental night for the New England Patriots on that night. But there is also a game to be played at 7:30 p.m. Kickoff time starting at Gillette Stadium. New England Patriots, Washington Commanders. This is going to be a good one, folks. There are good players on both sides of this matchup. The Commanders are definitely a deep team, even if you're going to see, like I said earlier, some of the reserves. They will still captivate a lot of your attention. And of course, you want to see the hometown team and how they look as Mike Vrabel leads the New England Patriots out onto the field for the first time as head coach. Bottom line, we appreciate all of your support here on Patriots No Huddle. Each and every one of you who take the time every week, every time we join you on the microphone, and every time we hit the airwaves for you to make us a part of your New England Patriots coverage. Thank you so much for that, and continue to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, the Pats Fans channel on YouTube. On behalf of my good friend and Patriots paisan Steve Balistrieri, on behalf of the great Derek Havens and myself, Mike Debate, we remind all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change that you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone. Travel safely to Gillette if you do so on Friday, and we'll see you back here again next time on Patriots No Huddle.
Awesome, man.